My goal with this channel is to encourage you in your walk with Christ. As Matthew 4:4 says, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So today I'm continuing my salvation story, part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I encourage you to check it out so you can follow along. But before we jump into today's story, let me give you a quick recap of what I shared last time in part 1. So in part 1, I talked about how I kept seeing the number 11 everywhere, and it felt so strange, as if like something was following me or trying to get my attention. I also mentioned, losing the two most important men in my life, which were my uncle and my father, and they passed just within 10 days of each other. That loss really sent me into a spiral and very anxious, had me depressed, ended up dropping out of college, and I just started to question everything about my future. Why did this happen? Where was God in all of this? So just check out part 1 if you missed that. So now let's talk about what happened next, because this was the most darkest moment of my life, yet it was also the moment where God met me in a way I never expected. So there's a picture I took during this time, and I remember that day so vividly. I had reached my breaking point, and I was drowning in hopelessness. I felt like there was no future for me, and I genuinely thought about ending it all that day. So y'all, please bear with me. This is a deep subject for me to talk about, but I pray that my story inspires someone to seek God and find the great light. And if you are going through a time such as this or something similar, that you can find some inspiration to keep going. Like y'all, I seriously don't even know why I took the picture, but looking at it now, I can see the pain I was in. And what gives me chills is that when I looked at the picture a few years ago, I saw something I didn't notice before, and it's a dark hooded figure in the background, and that's what the arrow is pointing to. At the time, I didn't think much about spiritual warfare or even knew what it was, but like now looking back, I fully believe that that was a manifestation of the enemy. I mean, look at the picture, like the arrow pointing to that dark hooded figure, and right there at my lowest moment when I'm thinking about ending it all, he's feeding me lies and telling me there's no way out. And honestly, I almost believed it, but thankfully, God had other plans. So that night, I went to bed. I was feeling numb. I was feeling hopeless. I mean, at that time, I wasn't praying. I wasn't worshiping. I wasn't even thinking about God. But sometime during the night, in my dream, I heard a voice. But for real, y'all, it wasn't like my own thoughts, and it wasn't just in my mind. It was audible, and it had a deep authority to it. It was like an echo, but it wasn't distant. It was powerful, yet calmed, and it just felt like a peace around me. And I remember the words clear as day. You have been deceived by Satan because you have been too quiet. I woke up instantly. My heart was racing. I sat up in the bed. I was completely shaken. But I knew without a doubt that I had just heard God's voice. I mean, it wasn't like any human. It was a voice I have never heard a human sound like. It was completely, I knew it was God. So I kept replaying those words in my mind. You have been deceived by Satan. At first, I didn't get it. I wasn't living in sin. I wasn't really, rebelling towards God, not that I knew of. But then it hit me. I had allowed the enemy to silence me. I had stopped speaking life over myself. I had stopped praying. I had stopped worshiping. I had stopped fighting. So instead, I had accepted every lie the enemy whispered to me. And that was that I was alone, I had no future, and that my pain would never end. And because I had been silent, those lies had taken root inside of me. But then came the second part of what God said, because you have been too quiet. God was showing me that my silence was a part of the enemy's deception. The moment I stopped seeking him, the enemy's voice got louder. And I didn't even realize it until till that very moment. The craziest part is when I heard God's voice, it felt familiar. It made me wonder, had he been speaking to me before, or had I just been too distracted to recognize it? But looking back, I believe he had been, but I was so spiritually disconnected that I didn't realize him. And that night, he made sure I heard him loud and clear. He got my attention. It's just crazy how God knows how to get our attention. It reminds me of Exodus 3, when Moses was tending to the flock of Jethro, and God set the bush on fire, but it wasn't burning up. And it just I just think it's amazing how God gets our attention. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Not gonna lie, it made me start to question everything I had been believing. It made me realize that my life was worth fighting for. It made me recognize that there was a real battle between my soul and God was calling me to stand up and fight. What happened after that? If you're in a dark season right now, please know this. The enemy is a liar. He wants you to believe there's no way out, but there is. God is speaking. Even if you don't feel him, he is still there. If you've ever had an encounter where God spoke to you in an unexpected way, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your testimony might encourage someone else. And like I said, with this channel, I just want to build like a faith group, a manna family, as I call it, and just hope that we can all grow in Christ and endure and encourage each other on this journey. And before I go, I would like to share this verse with you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1 through 5. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.